Good evening. I'm Deleon English, President of the Little Elm ISD Board of Trustees. On the board's behalf, I'd like to welcome all who are present and to our video viewers. Let me introduce my fellow trustees and staff. Seated to my right is Ms. Leanna Harding, our Vice President, Mr. Cooper Begas, who is not present, Trustee Christopher Williams. To my left is seated Acting Superintendent Matthew Gutierrez, Trustee Alex Flores, our Secretary, Trustee Stephanie Gregg, and Trustee Melissa Meyer. For our cabinet members, we have present Assistant Superintendent Linda Engel, Acting HR Director Cleta Epps, and Acting Executive Director Cindy Mika. Great. Call to order. The board now convenes this meeting in open session on Monday, October 13, 2014 at 6:15. I call this meeting of the Little Elm Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members are present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that the notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code 551. For the public, this is a working session which allows the board to discuss the business of the district. Public comments and input will be available in the next regular meeting. Roll call, please.
Okay. Mr. Christopher Williams.
Here.
Ms. Leanna Harding.
Here.
Mr. Deleon English.
Here.
Mr. Matthew Gutierrez.
Here.
Mr. Alejandro Flores.
Here.
Ms. Stephanie Gregg.
Here.
Ms. Melissa Myers.
Here.
And that present, Mr. Cooper Begas.
This meeting will comprise of two sections, which will be the highly qualified public hearing, and then we will have the working session. For the first part of the qualified meeting, we will have public comments for that portion. First portion, highly qualified public hearing.
At this time, we have our Acting Executive Director of Human Resources who is going to discuss our highly qualified status, which is a federal mandate for all public schools to conduct every fall. So this is not something that is new to us. We were here a year ago providing information on our highly qualified status.
You have the information in front of you that outlines the different campuses. Excuse me. There are a little adjustment here. As you go through under Zellers, there is no 14-15 school year. That was intended to be the Prestwick 14-15 school year, which is at 100% all the way across. Just kind of generally going through, all our elementary Title I campuses are all at 100% HQ. As I mentioned, Prestwick is also, and Lakeside Middle School is also 100% HQ all across. The high school, the percentage of classes taught by HQ teachers, so it includes regular and SPED, is at 99.7. Percentage of classes taught by HQ teachers high poverty, 99.7. Percentage of HQ teachers regular and SPED, 98.9. And then percentage of teachers receiving high quality professional development is at 100%. You have any special questions I can answer about this?
I guess just the reason for not being at 100% for the high school?
Yes, sir. This year, just trying to give you some general, we had 99.7. It represents one section of one course. So it's within the special ed department. So of the 7 sections in the day, one math section is all this teacher teaches. It was at the time in the best interest of the kids to put a teacher in there that could test and make this make the HQ. The test hasn't passed yet, so the teacher is aware that she has to take the test to meet the HQ for that portion, but it will be done by the 15th of November, so it's not done as yet. Now, I will tell you that that is 371 sections of regular and SPED core courses. 57 of them are core teachers, and again, this is one section of one day that is has not met HQ yet. When this teacher was originally put in there, it was designed to be temporary with the understanding that we would need to have that teacher tested, or ideally in the beginning, we wanted to hire a full teacher. This teacher does inclusion for all the rest of the day except for the one section that we needed for a math. So we are making part of the requirement, if we're not having met HQ at this point, we do have to prepare a focused data analysis, and that will be completed by November 1st, and we have to implement that HQ Teacher Campus Improvement Plan process, which is a matter of making sure that our plan is listed on the Campus Improvement Plan and the District Improvement Plan. Realistically, we expect this to resolve itself here within a little over a month.
Thank you.
Does that help? Okay.
Ms. Epps, can you get back with the board once the teacher has passed her
Oh, yes, ma'am.
HQ? So we know that the circle's been closed.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I have a question as well. Where does DAEP fall in? Where do those teachers fall into this? Do they have to be
They
highly
fall under high
qualified?
school.
They do fall in?
Based, yes,
Okay.
ma'am. And it's, just like the others, it's based on the core that they teach,
That's
but they
fine.
have to be highly qualified like high school, yes, ma'am.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions? At this time, we will open the citizen input. Unless you have any other questions? Any other questions? So at 6:21, we'll open the citizen input. Citizen input. Good. 6:22, we'll close citizen input. Because we're adjourning with the special meeting, including the workshop, we'll just move directly into the workshop. Now we're done with that, let's go ahead and do our pledge of allegiance.
So we just open up?
Yeah, we just open up the meeting.
Okay.
So we're opening up the regular workshop meeting at 6:22. Let's just continue forward. You okay with that? Good. All right, let's do that. So our pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
So we can't do that right now.
No, we do superintendent's report though.
Yeah, we're gonna get that done.
We'll knock it out if we have a chance.
Yeah.
All right. What we're gonna do is we're gonna move into the superintendent's report prior. We have to take any votes tonight.
Mr. President, can we change the order?
We can do reports before 6:30.
Okay. We
Yeah,
can't do
we
both.
can't do votes before 6:30.
Okay. So don't need to make that motion?
You don't need to make a motion, I can just move it.
Can't make a motion.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can just move it. That's the nice part about it. We're gonna move up the superintendent's report.
Our first report is going to be provided by Cindy Mick, our Executive Director of Accountability and Student Support, and she is going to give an update on class sizes, an update on our demographics, and then move into an update on high school transcripts.
Okay, I'm going to start with a class size update. You should all have this on your pen drive. Just a little bit about where we are right now. The first slide here shows you our enrollment from the first day of school till Friday, September 26th. And you can see we've moved from 6,666 students to 6,921. I have another update for you. As of Friday, we are at 6,961. So in that 2-week span from September 26th to October 10th, we grew 40 students in the district. So if we look at Brent, we started at 599 and we've grown to 620, and as of Friday, we're actually at 627. So in that 2-week span, we had a +7 there on October the 10th. And then if we look at their class sizes, they range from 18 to 26, with 26 being at our 5th grade. We do not have any class size waivers at Brent.
Is that something we need to look into? Or are we still okay?
We're looking really good right there. at that campus, we're looking good. We've got some, we have room to grow, and some of those classes are looking that way because when you start a bilingual program at a campus, those numbers sometimes are lower because you're moving kids into that program from other schools. And so the average class size at our bilingual campuses are actually going to look lower than at our strictly English campuses because sometimes it pulls it down. And that being because if you have 46 kids, then we typically will add a teacher. And so then that will drop it until we build that enrollment back up.
So the 26 students in fifth grade?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're talking about the fifth grade?
Yes.
Oh, no, that's fine, because we were looking at, being at 26 would be our,
Usually 27 is
26,
when we get
27 is
okay,
where we start
okay.
worrying, yeah.
I knew we had
There is
a lower
no
cap.
restriction in fifth grade.
In fifth grade, okay, that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking. Thank
we
you.
don't want to hit 30,
No.
which is why we relieved Chavez, but we're still sitting pretty good right there.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Sorry, I misunderstood your question. We look at Chavez, we've grown from 727 to 749 on the 26th, and as of Friday, we were at 751 at that campus. When we look at the class size there, we range anywhere from 18.6 at their pre-Ks up to 23 in the fifth grade. And that fifth grade there is 23 because we just added that fifth grade teacher and split out those kids. And so that's why we're seeing a little bit lower class size there. We do have 8 waivers at that campus. We have 4 in first grade, 2 in second grade, and 2 in fourth grade, with those classes sitting at 23. Okay. At Hackberry, we started at 649. On Friday, the 26th, we were at 667, and right now we're at 665. And this campus, you'll see a little bit of up and down, so that's a -2. Well, this is a high mobility campus for us, so all throughout the year, we'll see an increase, then we'll see a decrease, then we'll see an increase, and then we'll see a decrease. It's typical for this campus. I've split their classes out a little bit different because not only do we have just monolingual, which we call monolingual our strictly English classes, where we teach everything in English. And then we have 2 types of bilingual at these campuses. We have a bilingual, and then we have a dual language as well. And so I needed to show you what the differences were there. This is a campus where we've just recently added some new staff members. So we're ranging anywhere in class size here at 16.3 in that monolingual first grade class. And that's because we just added that new teacher to relieve them because they were sitting pretty high in first grade. And then our other grade level that we added a teacher there was the third grade class, and that's why it's at 16.6. But you can see that we're sitting really good in the rest of that class, that campus, and we don't have any class waivers after you added those new additional staff there.
See that, Hackberry, you said 16.3 just across the board?
In first grade.
Okay.
For our English classes.
Okay.
We added that third English teacher. We were sitting at I believe 25 or 26, even 27 in one of the classes before you added that teacher. But with that extra teacher, we dropped down to 16.3. So now we have room for growth there at that campus. The bilingual classes, our smallest one is sitting at 16 and our biggest one is sitting at 20. We look at Lakeview, and we started Lakeview at 555, and on Friday the 26th, we ended at 576, and we've moved up to 583 as of the 10th on Friday. So that was a +7 over the past 2 weeks. Their class sizes range from 17.8 in kindergarten up to 25.3 is our highest in fifth grade. We do have third grade, we have 3 class waivers. They have 3 of their 5 sections sitting at 23. So we're still doing okay at that campus. And those are the approved class waivers that we've had from before. Oak Point Elementary, We started at 598, and on the 26th, we were at 610. Over the past 2 weeks, we grew to 619. And their class sizes, like I showed you with Hackberry, we have the bilingual dual language and the monolingual. Our monolingual classes are running anywhere from 17.5 to 21.3 across the board. And then our bilingual and dual language classes run anywhere from 13 to 20, 23 in 5th grade. Okay. At Prestwick STEM, our enrollment has stayed pretty steady. We started at 319. On the 26th, we were at 321, and now we're back down to 319. And then their class sizes range anywhere from 16.6 to 19. That's at the elementary. If we look at the Prestwick STEM 6-8, we started with 338. We had 342, and now we're at 340 as of October the 10th. And their class sizes at the middle school at Prestwick run right around 20 students.
Ms. Maker, do we have any students that are choosing to return to their home campus from the Prestwick Academy? And maybe that's the reason for some of this.
We had one student who we have allowed to return back. We typically do not do transfers until the end of the semester when we're moving from a campus like that back to the middle school, because the electives are different. Some of the AP, the pre-AP classes and going to a regular. This student actually withdrew to go to Frisco, and then when they re-enrolled at Lakeview Middle School. So that was how we moved that student over. Okay. But so we have had one that has left to go. We've had one other transfer request. We're working with the parent to work out, some of the concerns, and we'll relook at that at the end of the semester. If they still choose to, then we'll move them back. So one or two so far at the middle school level. We haven't had any at the elementary.
Thank you.
So if you look at our average class sizes, I just took the 10 highest core classes, and that's ranked for you there. So our highest class there is sitting at 27.
And what's our max for the middle school class size?
We really don't have one. We look at 30. So, but we really don't. There isn't one. So,
Well, just for ourselves, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
Some of our classrooms over there are double classrooms, so they can hold large amounts of students. So, 35.
Okay, so with the 27, we're sitting
good.
pretty.
We are sitting really
Okay.
pretty at Prestwick. You'll see that our class sizes are a little bit higher at Lakeside Middle School. Enrollment started at 1109, ended at 1184. Friday, we were at 1183, so -1. Our average class size there is 26.6 for all classes and 22.4 for our core classes. But then when you look at our top 10 highest, you'll see our top highest there is 34.33. And when I looked at this, we only offer 2 sections of pre-AP at that course. And so that's why we have the higher course numbers in some of our pre-AP classes.
Are these kids sitting on floors, or, we got plenty of desk space for everyone?
Everyone has a desk and everyone has a chair. And we have plenty of desks and chairs because we have surplus still at King.
Okay.
Are these some of the open concept rooms that we renovated, or are they still the?
Not the social studies 7th pre-AP, no, it's a regular classroom. Our open concept classroom there would be the Science 07 pre-AP with 25.33. So we would have about 50 kids in that class because we would count them, and we have 2 teachers in there. Okay.
But if we continue to their enrollment continues to grow every week,
Yeah.
these class sizes
These
are
class sizes,
pretty cool. Averages going to get to
these
35,
class sizes
36.
might get
That's-
to
yeah.
where we're looking at our
Yeah.
cutoff. And so that 7th grade social studies pre-AP, it'd be great if we could find a math social studies teacher and split, But based on these numbers, and you could relieve the top 3 there if you could do that. So, but right now, we'll continue looking, and we can even look at, we have the semester coming up and maybe looking at a different way to run the schedules. But Trey, we're watching it. We're watching it.
I mean, are we monitoring the class to make sure that it's not unruly in there for a teacher? It can be kind of difficult at 35 students. That's a concern for me.
Yeah, we are in classes daily to look at those. We are enforcing a lot of we want our kids to learn, so for them to learn, we have to have them behave in class. And so that comes at a price at the beginning, so until they learn some of those very just expectations, this, I need to sit and I need to listen, I can't be disruptive. If you're going to be disruptive, you're going to be removed from class and we're going to teach you a different way. So that's kind of where we are now. They've finally got into kind of a rhythm. We're 7 weeks, 8 weeks into school now, and we're moving right along.
Okay.
So.
Then we have the high school. We started at 1772. On the 26th, it was at 1852, and on Friday, it was at 1873 with a plus 21 over that 2-week span period. And so our high school continues to see increased enrollment there. Our all classes average size is 26.28 and core content is 25. And here is our top 10. Our biggest class at the high school is sitting at 30.9. Any questions on that report? The second
New
report.
message from David Rodriguez.
The second report that I'm going to share with you is our Lei Demographics. And I was pulling this actually for a different purpose, and when I saw it, I really thought that I wanted to bring it to you for a very interesting reason. The very first slide there, we are now a minority majority district. We sit at 41% Hispanic this year. Last year that was flopped. We were at 41% whites, and so now we're at 39% whites. 16% African Americans, 3% Asian, and 1% other. And I wanted to kind of show you what our neighboring districts look like. So the very first top one on the left is Little Elm again. You can see Frisco is 57% whites. And then we have Prosper, which is sitting at 72%, and then 13% Hispanic. Denton is probably the closest to us at 52% whites and 31% Hispanics. McKinney is 54% whites, 27% Hispanics, and Louisville is 50% whites and 27% Hispanics. So in our direct area with our surroundings that we are compared to often, we are a very different demographically made up district. And so I wanted to be sure and share that with you. And then I wanted to run for you our low socioeconomic, which is our educationally disadvantaged students. And that's there in the orange. And so as a district, we are at 40% low socioeconomic status. That means we have 40% of our students that are receiving free and reduced lunch. If you look at our surrounding districts, just by looking at the color graphs, you can see that the closest one, once again, to us is going to be Denton. They're sitting at 43%. And really, if you look at our middle school, and I didn't put this on here, but if you look at our middle school is sitting at 52% low socioeconomic status. The reason that the district is pulled down to the 40s is because our high school students really don't turn in those applications, and the high school's only sitting at 33%. So as a comparison, the majority of our elementary schools are in the upper 40s, and the middle school is sitting at 52%. So our demographics are changing, and the fact that we are now a minority majority district with our Hispanics being our highest student population, it shows that with what we're doing with the programs that we're putting into place with our bilingual and our dual language programs, we're starting to focus on meeting the needs of those students that are taking up the majority of our district without losing sight of all of our other students. Okay. Any
So-
questions on that?
What is what technically, what does that mean with our demographic being a majority?
It doesn't mean anything. I just wanted to show you, we saw it, it was just something it's a change for us. Not a change because it's been happening gradually, but we've been seeing it coming and we've been seeing it coming. The state is now high numbers of Hispanics. We look more like the state than we do our neighbors. I think this is really what I wanted you to see is our neighbors. Because when we're being compared with our neighbors, we're being compared with Frisco, we're being compared with Prosper, McKinney, the demographics are not the same that what we're dealing with. And so it is harder to teach students that are coming to us with limited English proficiencies, and it takes more money, honestly, to educate students that have a low socioeconomic status, because they're coming to us, all research shows that they're coming to us not as ready for school as those that are educationally advantaged. Okay? So it's just an FYI for you. Yes, ma'am.
You made a comment that the high school, the numbers drop off for this free reduced lunch at the high school. Are we doing anything to educate them of the advantages for the families to continue filling out the paperwork with the free SATs and ACTs and, all the standardized tests that you get by filling out the paperwork? And to be college ready
I will make sure that we put a push on that, because it's not ever too late to fill out one, but I'll make sure that the high school is following through with that. We do, in the counseling office, we have all of those vouchers for them. I think the big thing is that they have to go through the hot lunch line, and they don't
want to do that.
They want to go through the other lines.
I understand, but maybe if the parents, or maybe if we just stress that part, even if they don't go to use it for lunch, they still need it
Right.
to make them college career ready so they can take those tests.
Right.
It was my understanding that once they were on, or I guess designated for the free lunch, that they continued that throughout their...
No, every year they have to
Every year.
reapply. They have to reapply every year. And what's interesting is that if they're filling out a family application, oftentimes they will leave off the high school student's name. But it is an application every year.
I'm sorry.
Because I've never filled out one. And I just know that some of the students, they get it, and I don't think I ever have.
It's something that goes home at the beginning of the year, or is in those beginning of the year packets.
There's available at registration for families to get by choice.
It's nothing that we, I know at the elementary levels, I think we put an application packet in every kid's backpack, in the Tuesday folder. So it's... But
It's not a trend that's just unique to Little Elm. It's a trend you see everywhere at the high
in the
school
state of
level.
Texas.
They really struggle.
Well, I'm not concerned
Yeah,
about
to
that. I
get
was
in.
just with the high school, and you were saying that it was dropping off. Because I've known families that once they were in it, they were in it. And even their status changed, and they went to go change it, and they were told that they couldn't, that once they were on the program, they were on it, and they continued to be on it.
That's not how my understanding of it, but I will get with Carolyn Tarver and make sure we're not passing out the wrong information, but it is
I'll get with you, 'cause I've got the
Yeah, get with me,
specifics.
because it is a yearly application, and we have, the first 10 days of school or so, because we're in that crossover period, anyone that was previously on it, we keep them on it until we get their new, I'm right?
30 days.
30 days, thank you.
The application process is every after July 1st, once they have. So if the child had it and then they did not reapply, they will go back to paying full.
I'll
Right,
talk
and
to you
then that's how we
afterward.
get a lot of applications, because that first day where okay, you need to pay us now, then they, mom and dad go and fill it out. But get with me on that.
I will.
Okay, thanks.
Do we have a document maybe in Spanish that explains the benefits, as Ms. Gray was talking about, that they can take home and present to the parents that maybe don't read English or?
I don't know, but I'm
proficient?
going to look into that.
And maybe when we're doing orientation at the high school level, or something where we send out to the parents, we can explain the benefits and I'm certainly not, if you don't qualify,
Right.
then don't fill it out. But if you qualify
Right.
for it, they need to see that it's something other than just the meal.
Right.
Because it really does, when they get ready to apply for colleges, I mean, for not just SAT, ACT, it even waives a lot of the application fees for stuff
Right.
that you don't think about with free reduced lunch.
It waives part of their fees. for
Yeah,
AP
there's a
tests.
lot of other
Okay.
applications
We'll
that
make sure that we do
people don't think
a
about.
promotion on it at the high school. Okay.
All right.
Any other questions? Okay. Quick transcript update. Last time I met with you, we have had a bit of a change in how we went about the transcripts. Last time I spoke with you, we were knee-deep in the audit of the course catalog. And at that point, I told you that we were going to be working on editing the course catalog and moving forward from there. We had a meeting with all of the high school counselors, Mr. Gutierrez, myself, and the administration at the high school, and Brandon Thompson, our programmer. And at that meeting, we decided that we wanted to in order to make sure 100% that we had every transcript ready by the drop dead date of October 31st for the November 1st deadline, that we were going to hand audit every senior transcript and make those corrections that needed to be made. We will be finished with all of that by October 20th. We have pulled 2 counselors into the curriculum and instruction department, and they're working 3 days a week. And really, they seem to be working in there almost 4 or 5 days a week, trying to get this last push done. We will be finished on next Monday, October the 20th. And then on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, we are going to have 3 additional 2 counselors and then the registrar, their eyes on every single transcript. So all 400 or so transcripts, we will have those 3 eyes on them, just a double proof check. And then on the 23rd and 24th, Brandon will reopen the GPA ranking for those transcripts, and we will have them available for the seniors by the 24th or 25th of that week. And so that will be about a week before they're due to the colleges. And we have been in communication with some of the colleges who are doing the early admissions. And so they know that we are hand auditing, and we will get them their transcripts by that deadline. And then beginning the week of August 27th, 2 of those same 2 counselors that have been working through the whole process with us since July, they will be meeting with Brandon, and we hope to have the course catalog corrections made within 2 to 3 days, and then we'll be able to, this is going to give us the baseline, because we know what the transcripts have to look like, because we just did them by hand. And then after we make the corrections in the course catalog, we'll be able to start running transcripts and see any programming errors that we have, and Brandon will be able to make the programming errors so that everything comes in line with the system. And so we should not have this problem in the spring come time to run our final report cards. And once we fix this, it should fix transcripts with every grade level below us. But this is the way that we move to do it. And so next time we meet, we should be able to tell you we are done with transcripts.
Good.
And so
And so we have.
It's been a long process, but it's been one, and it's been a long ordeal, but we're going to do it right this time.
Good.
You said October 27th?
Yes, October 27th.
So-
We hope to actually have it to the students on the 25th. We're going to begin working in the course catalog on the 27th.
Okay. That sounds good. So now we have a process for auditing records, validating that the computer and the records that we anticipate happening
Correct.
are actually matching up.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So we have a process for that. That's really good.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's all I have.
Our next update is going to come from Cecilia Jones, our communications coordinator, and she's going to provide an overview of the Let's Talk initiative that launched on October the 1st.
All right. I'm going to have a display right behind you. Hopefully you won't develop some neck problems tonight after I talk about this. I'm just showing you kind of the backside of the Let's Talk, but we launched it October 1st. And it's basically a tool that we use to put out there to the community so they can communicate directly to the people that are in charge of the district. You know, if you're somebody that's new to the district and you have a question, you don't really know who to talk to, well, what Let's Talk does is it links you directly to the person in charge. So I ran a report today, and this is the dashboard. This kind of gives you an idea of the report that we're seeing. So far, we've received 35 comments, and we've been able to close 34 of them. We've given ourselves 48 hours to respond, so you can see that the average day to close is 1.1, so we're doing pretty good. The nice thing about this is once we close dialogue, it sends back a feedback report to the customer. And so they're able to grade us on how we're responding. And I don't know if they're grading us on our answers or our quickness in response. So right now we're sitting at 9.8, which is great. And you can see the little bar graph down here. When we launched this, you can see as the days progressed, we had more and more. So I sent out a school messenger to let parents know. I also forwarded a template to principals today. So if they would like, they can print out that letter and tailor it to their campus and send that home with parents and let them know about the Let's Talk. I've tweeted it. I've put it on Facebook. And let me show you what it looks like from the other side so you can see. Have any of you had a chance to look at it yet?
Yes.
Yes. It's really cool. So basically what we did is we met as a group, and we figured out what important topics are out there that people have questions about. And so based on that, sorry, it's kind of thinking right now.
No, it never works when you need to.
Well, this is another reason why I think we need to relook at our thing, because this happens
Okay, so
constantly.
it's rejecting me right now.
Yes.
I think that Mrs. Ingalls had her fair share of questions about the bus, but we have a topic there about bus services. We have a topic about child nutrition, curriculum. We just added one today for substitute teachers. Anything else on your mind? So if one of the topics doesn't fit what maybe the question you have, you can always do the anything else on your mind. Athletics. And so basically each topic has an owner, and it goes straight to that owner. So obviously athletics would go to Sandra, and she would respond, and we get the notification in our email. And so that's a nice way of knowing that something's sitting there for us to answer. Yes. And Ms. Holly gets a lot of technology questions too about Chromebooks and stuff. And so the nice thing is it allows us to rate the dialogue between the customer. So we know when I'm looking in on the inside, I can see, oh, this is a case that's still pending, or maybe they're still researching it or whatever. But it's a really nice tool. I wish I could, oh, here we go. So we kind of have a little summary there of what it's about, what it will do, even tells you how it works, and then all the little different hot topics that we have. I know that when I have a child at Chavez, and when I was looking into the district, I really wanted to know more about the after-school program. So this is awesome for parents who need after-school care, and it directs them to our Alpha Best program.
Great.
Not really ours, but the program that we have at the school. Yes.
If there isn't a topic there that the parent wants to talk to or talk about, does it go to you and then you assign it to somebody? Is that
Right. They're our team. We have lots of people that are on the team. So let's say that it comes to me, and I think it's more of a technology answer, then I can reassign it to Holly. on the back side of things, we can kind of shuffle that information around. In fact, I think I've had a few where, see, anything else on your mind?
Okay.
I've had a few and I've had to reassign it. You can also see that the schools have their own little tabs too, so like Cesar Chavez would have John Lohman as the owner, or Brent would have Kelly Carr. But her team would be her AP, just like every campus. And Renee at the high school, all of those APs are part of her team. So anytime that she can't answer something, she can ask one of her team members to respond. And so that's what it looks like right there. This is what's really neat. You put a subject, everything that's in red is a required field. So, if it's about buses, you would put buses. And then it asks, is it a question, comment, suggestion, concern, or compliment? So hopefully we get compliments, but so far we're getting more questions. And we're hearing more from our parents. And you can see right here, identify yourself, I am a, and it says student, employee, parent, guardian, or community member. And then it says, would you like a response for this dialogue? If they select no, well then we can't dialogue with them, go back and forth. But if they select yes, they put their name, their email, and a phone number where we can contact them. In the field where they type in their question, there is a place where they can add a photo, a document, or video. So where it might be handy is if there's graffiti, heaven forbid, on one of our buildings, they can take proof, pictures, or whatever, and post it on the Let's Talk page. So far, so good. And the nice thing is we can adjust it. So if we feel like maybe I'm getting more questions on the anything else on your mind, I can create a new topic. So we can always adjust those topics. But I would encourage you to tell your constituents to use that tool to communicate with us.
Great.
Yeah.
I think Ms. Miller would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
The next update is coming from our Assistant Superintendent of Business Operations, Linda Engel.
Good evening, members of the board. I wanted to share with the board and to the public that next Monday night at 6:15, we will hold a public meeting to discuss our 2013 and 2014 Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas for Little Elm ISD. This is a yearly report that we receive from TEA. The first rating is based on 20 different variables that are reviewed by the Texas Education Agency. We are pleased to report again that we received a superior rating, and at next week's meeting at 6:15, we'll be glad to go over each and every one of those indicators and answer any questions the board may have. If there's not any questions now, we just wanted to make a public notice and invite everybody to go to our website. It is already posted on the website if anyone wants to look at it and review it and be prepared to ask questions next week.
That's the financial integrity meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
At 6:15?
Yes, ma'am. Any questions? Thank you.
Yes, we're going to put minutes on. Yeah. Next item up, we'll move to the approval of minutes. In your package, you should see the approval of amendments for October 6th and September 15th.
I move to approve the regular minutes for 9/15/2014.
I'll second.
What about October 6th?
We'll do one at a time.
You want to do it on there?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a second?
Yeah, there's a second.
Second. Is there any discussion? No discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes of meeting October 6th, 2014.
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, is there any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. At this time, the board will recess into closed meeting in a conference room as permitted by the Texas Open Meetings Act, subchapter 551.074, 551.072, and 551.071 at 7 o'clock. At 8:17, we will open a regular meeting. Next item discussion, action item discuss and action on the interim superintendent.
I move to name Matthew Gutierrez interim superintendent.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
There is a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries.
Yay, Mr. English. It's Miss Gray.
She's not going to.
Should be right there.
Oh, she's,
Said it'll put it over
oh,
here.
she- oh, there she is.
Oh,
You just
Do you
missed
want
it.
to be recorded in the vote?
Do you want to be recorded for action on the interim?
Action on the interim?
Yeah.
Sure, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, you may. Discussion action on personnel sheet. Matthew?
Members of the board, we are requesting action on some new hire recommendations. 3 that include additional FTEs that we had requested back in September. So we are looking at 4 new hires, again, 3 of which are new FTEs.
Okay. Is there a motion for approval of personnel sheet?
Motion? Make a motion?
Make a motion. Is there a second?
second.
There's a second. Discussion. No discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to discussion items. First discussion item, discuss FTEs at Chavez.
Mrs. Epps?
Evening again. Requesting 2 paraprofessional FTEs. The first one comes to us from Chavez Elementary School. It is for a paraprofessional receptionist, secretary that would basically be a split between a secretary, receptionist, and a teams work. And it says, I'd like to split this position because PEAMS is an area of concern. That and the receptionist position, we have almost 160 extra students at Chavez. I believe they're close to 750 total enrollment. The position would help both our receptionists and PEAMS positions with their duties. Our parents have frequently commented on the excellent customer service our office has been able to provide in the past. We're struggling to meet those needs and therefore are requesting this position. And that's for the receptionist, secretary/PEAMS at Chavez. The second one is for an additional paraprofessional in the special education department for an aide. The numbers presented from Hackberry. In 2013-14, we had 22 students receiving special education. In 2014-15, now there are 32 receiving special education, with 2 that receive a large percentage of instruction in Spanish. Looking at the RTI data that is, data that is in place, we could end up with an additional 10 more students being added to special education roles. So without this additional position, there is a concern that there may be a problem being compliant for the rest of the school year. So they are asking for approval of an FTE for a paraprofessional SPED aide.
And that's, both of those are for Chavez?
One's for Chavez, one's for Hackberry.
Okay, which one's Chavez?
Hackberry is the aide
Okay.
for SPED, and Chavez is the receptionist secretary position.
Wasn't there interest for Brent as well to have a SPED teacher?
I believe we have already approved that position at the last
Right.
board meeting.
Well, that's where I think there was some confusion.
In progress.
Yeah, the interviews
Right.
are taking place.
Okay,
Mhm, we haven't filled the position yet.
okay,
Yes, Mrs. Myers, I'm doing the best I can.
okay.
There's an
Thank you, Ms.
aide
Carter.
position that has been filled on your
Okay.
personnel sheet.
Okay, that's what I
The
saw as
aide
aid,
position
so that's
has,
why I was
yes,
so
ma'am.
confused, okay.
Any further questions from the board? All right, let's move on. Discuss shack members.
Members of the board, annually, we are required to bring shack members to the board for approval. It is part of the shack mandates, and so what you have attached are those who have expressed interest in serving on shack, as well as those who are already serving on shack in the district. And so what we are asking is the shack members, again this school year, be approved by our Board of Trustees.
How many members of shack do we have?
We have,
Can you explain what shack is?
we usually have we have 26. It's the School Health Advisory Committee, and if y'all have any other questions about shack and what they do, please feel free to ask. But we did have a large amount of interest this year, and I think one of the things that did help in seeking additional members was the survey that went out back in August seeking community engagement on various committees. So we're very fortunate this year to have more individuals expressing interest, and because of that have a much more active shack committee.
Good.
Thank you.
Any other questions about board?
So 26 members is what we're looking for?
We have 26 that we have brought forward.
26 who are interested?
Correct.
Okay.
To be approved by the board.
Do we choose who we donate this money to? I see the Lions Club and Shattered Dreams. Who selects those organizations?
Those are, I'm looking at the shack report that's attached just for information only. We do receive donations. The committee does receive donations to put on functions such as the health fair and Shattered Dreams, because those things do cost money.
Right.
We don't raise money, the committee doesn't raise.
But the
Raise money.
committee doesn't
Doesn't.
raise
Right,
money.
but at the health, I see that we gave the money to the Lions Club and Shattered Dreams.
No, the Lions Club gave the money.
They donated
So they could
money.
put on the function.
Thank you.
Shack does not have a budget, so
I've seen it.
we run by donation.
Okay, great. Any other discussion? None? Discuss policy update 100.
Ms. Mika?
We have the policy update there for you. It was in your board. I'm moving, that you read through it. Any questions? The only thing that as I read through it, and I noted it there, was on FDA local. It stated Durham School Services, and so we'll just need to change that name to Gold Star Transportation. But that was the only issue that I found in it. Any questions on the update 100?
All right, great. Next item up, discuss citizen input policy.
This is BED local, and we've been working with Mr. Eichelbaum on getting this for the wording that you wanted. And so after the last discussion we had at the last board meeting, these were the notes that we took forward as to what you wanted. I did the changes there in red for you. Any questions on that?
Can you give me 1 second on that
Sure.
one? I was trying to pull it up and it wouldn't let me. Because I did have a question on that one.
So where we were changing the limit on participation. So we said that the audience participation shall only be permitted at the regular board meetings and at workshop meetings at the request of any board member, and shall be limited to the public comment portion of a regular board meeting designated for that purpose. So during the workshop meeting, which is today's meeting, what this says is that at the request of a board member, we could have public dialogue. And then at the regular board meeting, it's going to still be during that public comment time where they sign up on the paper.
So during the workshops, we could.
During workshops, at the request of a board member, you could dialogue with the.
Okay, so on a particular item, dialogue could be opened up.
Correct.
Yeah, on the, yeah.
But on the regular
That's-
board meetings, you're still limited to the public comments.
Public comments.
Okay.
So what does it impact on from a timing standpoint if we open up agenda items mean,
Not much. I mean, we would still have a lot of control over that. You're not opening up just for random. But it would, because I know a lot of this is, the purpose of it is for people when they come to speak, is make sure everyone has an opportunity to speak. Because for me, if you have 10 people that want to talk on a topic and they're limited to one representative, then we've just eliminated 9 people being able to talk. And it'll still keep it controlled, keep it organized, but allow everyone to speak if they wish.
The second piece there on the public comment for the regular board meetings, that was the one where instead of 3 minutes, we've increased it to 5. The only time that you would decrease it is if they had more than 3 persons speaking on one topic, then each person would be limited to 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't have that much, so it's not going to be a huge impact. So.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to sign
Even,
anybody.
we had
I
8.
don't want it to cut anybody off.
It won't. We had 8 people in here one time, and a couple of those people did hit 5 minutes, and the majority of them were less than a minute.
So my only worry is, who are you going to allow and not allow to speak?
Well, you're not allowing anybody. Everybody gets a chance to talk.
They just have 3 minutes.
They have to
versus
sign up.
5.
They still have to sign up.
Okay, they still have to sign up.
Yeah, everyone still has to sign
Everyone
up to
still has to
speak.
sign up. If you had 30 people come to speak on one topic,
Mhm.
then you would no longer be making them choose one person. You would be allowing every 30 person, each of those 30 people to speak for 3 minutes. So that would be 90 minutes.
Yeah, we couldn't do that.
Pardon?
We could. It's just, I mean, but what's the likelihood?
It could happen.
It can.
It happen.
It
You open
can.
it up and you're.
And it can happen,
And
but
be careful
most people
what
get
you-
under a minute.
Be careful what you wish for.
I think our turn.
Yes, Dan.
Well, there's a couple of ways to address that if you want, which is to say, for a maximum of 30 minutes on the agenda. So that way, you cap it no matter what.
Yeah.
So there are ways of doing that. The other thing that worries me, and I know it's highly unlikely, but I was a big fan of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. So if you're allowing one board member to open up work sessions to anyone in the public speaking, one person can get 50 people to show up
Yep.
to filibuster a meeting because they don't like something on the agenda.
Well, also it goes beyond the presiding officer too, so.
Right?
Okay.
I'm just saying, that's the danger. If you set a policy that says, and if any one board member can request, and I assume request means that it'll be granted, that the public be able to speak at a work session, you're letting one person possibly control the agenda for the entire board.
Are we talking about during agenda items?
I
Or
don't
the
think it
public
says.
input?
I don't think it says.
No.
It doesn't
doesn't
say.
say. That's
If
the
you look
danger.
on the limit of participation right here, the first one, where it says that audience participation shall only be permitted at regular board meetings, and that's during we didn't
That's right.
change that portion, that's during the public comment section. But the session that he's talking about is the rest of that sentence, and at workshop meetings at the request of any board member.
And that goes, like I say, that goes beyond the presiding officer being able to control,
Yeah.
control the meeting.
So,
Yes, it does.
exactly.
Still-
And
Any one board member could do
Could
that.
do that.
it could very easily get out of hand very quickly. We've seen too many boards where this stuff happens.
So,
We're not talking about the public input anymore. We're talking about something even beyond
Well,
the citizen input section of the agenda.
Well, correct, because during the workshop, there is no citizen input section. We
You're
are
creating
adding
it.
that, and it's going to be during any portion of the agenda.
No,
It
no,
could be
no, no,
opened
no,
up
no.
to have a
It's supposed to
discussion.
be just like on the regular, it's just there's going to be a section where if someone wants to speak, they can, just during citizen input.
That's not how it's written.
It's not how it's written.
And that's not what y'all wanted last time. Y'all wanted it where they could talk.
Okay, so it looks like it needs to go back to be
We'll go back to
reworded.
the board.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll go back to.
To the drawing
Yeah,
board.
well, because mine
Drawing
was
board.
literally just.
Drawing board.
Yeah.
Okay, because my part of the input was just increasing the time so people can speak and so that everyone that wants to speak can have an opportunity to speak during citizen input. We weren't supposed to be changing anything other than the time limits. Mr. Begas, I know that the following week or the following meeting that we had wanted to be able to engage the public during meetings if a citizen had input. So that part I cannot speak to. That's a little beyond me, but no, my portion for the 3 and the 5 minutes, that was strictly on the citizen input
Okay.
section.
So on that section, do we want to add what Mr.
We'll work on
Akebon
it and we'll come back.
suggested?
Yeah, it just
30
sounds,
minutes?
basically
you some
sounds like,
options.
right,
Okay.
it sounds like there's a citizen input in the workshop is what it basically
All right.
sounds like.
That was it, just add that line, that citizen input line on the
Workshop.
workshops, that's the only, yes.
Okay,
I guess he wants it.
Okay, so does that make sense?
yes,
Okay, for that
all
part.
right, sounds good.
So,
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Discuss
All right,
transcript
let's open for
credit
that,
policy,
right?
and we gotta move along a little fast, we got some members who are moving on. Let's definitely try to move along for you there.
Okay, in the audit, the course audit, we found some issues that needed to be cleared up. The one that needs to be cleared up in policy is there on page 10, where instead of just saying summer school courses, we need that to say credit recovery courses, that they're exempt from, they're being excluded from the class rank and GPA points. So that's any student that retakes a course. Typically, that was only done in summer school, but we're now offering that during the E2020 online sessions during this regular semester. The policy committee met and we had talked about other things, but those are all going to be able to be cleaned up in a handbook addendum instead of a policy change.
Okay, excuse me a quick second. Ms. Gray?
Yes.
You okay? Okay. Excuse me. Okay,
Any questions on that?
no? Any questions by the board? No. All right, thank you very much. Moving on. Discuss tribute amended support agreement. Mrs. English?
Yeah, yes, sir. Members of the board, really, this is good news. Some of you are getting, good news is good, I'm telling you. Back in 2012, we entered into a partnership with the Tribute Partnership as well as the homeowners associations to actually construct the K-8 STEM Academy. And in the agreement, it was that we were to open the doors in 15-16. Then we worked very diligently based upon our growth and the needs of our community and opened in 14-15. But the agreement that we signed in June of 2012, the financial implications related to our partnership did not start until 15-16. However, we've opened in 14-15. So the amendment, and Ms. Cunningham is here, the Vice President Matthew Southwest is here also if there's any questions from the board. But really all this does is changes the time that we will start receiving financial assistance from the Tribute Homeowners Association. We will receive the payment in August of 15, which is next year, which will still be part of this fiscal year, and August of 16, and then all actually assistance until 2025. So really all this does is it moves those financial incentives back 1 year, so we'll start receiving them now. Now, we did make a little bit of change in the original agreement. We received half of it in September and half of it in April. We worked on that, and it's really financially, we have no problems with it being in August of each year because it's nice and clean for the initial ones. If you have the agreement, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But that's really what it does. It just takes that agreement and backs it up 1 year because we opened a year early.
Okay, so for the August timeframe, that is the initial start of our budgeting cycle, is that right?
Well, August of 15, we start September 1.
Okay, so that fits right into that budgeting cycle, is that right?
Yes, sir, it does.
Makes it easy?
Yes, sir, it
All
does.
right.
Any questions? All right, thank you, board.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you'll excuse me, I have another meeting I have to get to.
Thank you, Stephanie, for
Thank
that.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg.
Discuss grounds and maintenance agreement.
Thank you, President English, members of the board, and Interim Superintendent, Mr. Gutierrez. We'll be bringing a recommendation to you concerning a RFP that we did on October 3rd for grounds maintenance services, and so we've been doing that for this past year anyway with a company, but we're looking at going with another company. The reason why we do an RFP, request for proposals, is to make sure we get competitive pricing. And so we've received 3 bids. Suzette Henderson helped us with that too. Appreciate her help on that. Actually, one was received late, so we had to return that unopened, and so we had 2, and I think you have the pricing there, so we'll be bringing a recommendation to you for that to help on athletic fields and some of our facilities.
Okay.
That's it. Any questions?
Any discussion by the board?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's item H. We talked about this already, but we're going to table this until next time until we can get more discussions, information about that.
So we just need to table it?
Yeah, we'll table that. So, item H, we will table item H. Item I, discuss financial reports. Anything there?
Yes, sir, members of the board. We would bring to your attention prior to next Monday when we ask the board to approve the financial reports that there are various budget amendments
and some of them are hitting our fund balance, the district's fund balance. So I would just ask that the board be aware that there are, I think I had 35 budget amendments, and some of them do hit the district's fund balance. So you might scrutinize that a little bit, and if you have any questions, I'll be certainly prepared to answer.
You got an initial number about?
Yes, sir. It's $1,632,295 of budget amendments that will hit the fund balance. Now, $1.2 million of that really has to do with the renovations of the roofs and the HVACs that the board approved last month. But, I just always want to make the board aware when we're doing anything that will affect our fund balance.
So $1.2 million, so a vast majority of it, 80, almost 90% is roof repair.
Yes, sir. Well, it's HVACs and roof repair.
Roof repair.
Yes, sir.
And that comes out of the insurance, doesn't it?
We had our insurance proceed that is certainly in our fund balance now. Yes, sir, it does. Absolutely.
Okay.
Just bring that to your attention. Otherwise,
Thank you.
these are your August reports. They are unaudited, but they are, as of August 31st, the end of our fiscal year, the financials are that you have.
Okay. All right. Discuss gift and donations.
Yes, sir, these are routine items. We always present to the board items that we receive as gifts for our districts, and then we always want to thank the people who have donated those things.
Let me have a question. Do we have for all our donations, how does that go right now? When we receive donations, how does that work?
Well, it depends on what it's for, but
Okay.
there's a form. If it's $2,500 or less, the superintendent can actually accept the gift or donation.
Okay.
If it's over $2,500, the board has to accept it. If the donation is designated for specific things like lines for the school with a specific purpose, then of course we have to have the board to approve it, and then we have to track it and make sure we spent it on that specific item that the board accepted it for.
Okay.
So they are monitored through our general ledgers to make sure that we track them and that those funds are spent for whatever they were supposed to be for.
Okay. Yeah, a quick hypothetical situation.
Okay.
Kind of like Plano ISD received $5 million from Toyota for a donation to the ISD. Something like that where we receive a large sum of donation, how would that be implemented into our school? Is it something that we would have like a trust fund, something that would go to, or would it be directly to the school?
Well, it would be, we would set it up as a specific fund, and it would depend. I don't know how they donated
Sure.
it. If they donated it for a specific purpose, like to build a library or an addition to a school, whatever it was. If they set it, if it was contingent or if it had a specific designation, then we would have to set that up in a specific fund and track it, and then be able to show that we spent the entire $5 million for that purpose, whatever that purpose is, building.
Okay.
If they didn't designate it, because I can tell you an example like Dr. Pepper, which is our beverage company that we use, we negotiated a contract with them a couple of years ago, and one of the incentives in their proposal, because we went out for RFP for it based on our procurement laws, was that they would give us a $10,000 incentive up front. So we have that in a specific account that you can look on our books, and it'll show this is the Dr. Pepper Fund, and it is at the discretion of the board and leadership to make recommendations as to how those funds are spent. So it just depends on how we receive it as to what kind of latitude the board has in spending it.
Okay. Just curious about that. Thank you very much. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome, sir.
And last one, discuss vendors.
Yes, sir, you'll see that we have 24 or more vendors that we need in order to be able to get everything we need. That's right. It is a routine business practice. We add vendors every month, so, these are the vendors that we added for the month of October, so.
Sounds good.
Any other questions?
Any other questions about the board?
Thank you, board.
Thank you. Moving on to future agenda items. Let's open that for future agenda items. Mr. Williams, you got anything?
I do not.
You do not. All right.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll come back to my favorite subject, the
ROTC.
ROTC.
All right. All right.
I know we
ROTC.
sent out the survey, so I'd like to see what the results were of the survey.
Yes, and you did get information in the weekly packet on Friday. So if you've not had a chance to go through it, please make sure to go through it because you're going to see survey results, but you're also going to see some information as far as what it takes to implement ROTC. There are two different options, actually looking into implementing it all the way, which has a lot of fiscal implications, versus starting it and taking a baby step and implementing a club even 2 courses during the school day, where they partially pay, for example, Army pays for part of the instructor's fees, and then the school district pays for the other portion. So there is some information for y'all to look at, because there seems to be a lot of interest, and so we will be coming back to the board with some options that we want to look at as a school district.
And I think Mr. Beaconson made a point. I'm, of course, out of the military, a big supporter of military and ROTC. I think it's a great opportunity for our young men and women. So personally, I would be highly supportive, but also if that's something that we want to put as a policy of, we want to make that available, then that's definitely, we should discuss them as a policy. And I would recommend get with Ms. Harding to discuss policy-wise how that can be put together.
Because what you can look at is developing a leadership club that can be something after school, and like I said, incorporating a period or two where if you look at wanting to bring in ROTC, we've got to look at the facilities, because we really don't have the space. But in looking at in the future and planning for growth, I mean, I think the most growth happened here at the high school this year. We're about to hit 1,900. And so in thinking forward, thinking about the cafeteria and what programs we want to offer when it comes to ROTC or CTE, we certainly want to be able to plan, and when it comes to looking at the 5-year plan in the spring, really looking at what direction we want to go. But in the near future, we can certainly look at the leadership club option.
So we'll look at that next month, I guess?
We'll get some more information, absolutely.
Fantastic, thank you.
Great. Ms. Myers?
I wanted to see if we could review the opportunity to create, I guess, dashboards for the website. With Ms. Mika, is that kind of trigger a light bulb?
We've actually been
Okay, good.
in discussion. Ms. Mika and I, that is a project that we are wanting to tackle with Mrs. Jones' assistance, and even one of our student interns here, a marketing student.
Okay.
He's very tech savvy, because we, as a board, y'all looked at some school districts, and then we came together and looked at some other districts as well. And so that is something that we're looking at getting up. Hopefully, it is going to take time. We have someone gathering all of the data, test data, demographic data, growth data, so that we can have someone input that into a dashboard so that we can have up on our site and running in the spring. It is a process, and it is going to take a little bit of time to accumulate that data, but we're also looking at not only the data, but what districts do we want to compare ourselves to? Do we want to look at Frisco, Plano, those are districts that 50,000 plus students, or do we want to look at other districts that are about our size and look a lot like us, such as Waxahachie, Kaufman? So we are in the planning stages, because we do want to see that on our website.
Well, I can tell you from the public standpoint, they're going to want to look at the districts that are definitely around us.
And that's the first place people go to when they're looking to select a school district to move to. They go straight to that dashboard, because it has valuable data, and we certainly want to see that, like I said, on our website.
And I don't think it has to be, perfected per se. Even the demographics, I think, as a parent of the district would be great, just to be able to see that. I mean, even if you start small and work your way up and add more data to it, I think that's fine as well.
And we will start small.
Yeah, we can, like the,
So I think we should.
to turn this into a PDF and just to post it is fairly easy. The actual dashboard, what we're looking at doing would be that we would be able to update it regularly.
Right.
So it wouldn't be static.
Yeah.
We could do a static page with demographics and test scores, but it wouldn't be able to be.
Right, and I think Plano, theirs is a static page.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
it's
is.
just basically you click on it and you get the data.
Right.
It's not updated semester-wise or year-wise.
But we're working with a student intern as one of his projects to write that code for us.
Okay.
Sweet.
So-
All right, great. If there are no more, I have a couple of items for future agenda items. Board operating procedures review. As a board, we're basically tasked with general powers under the Texas Education Code. Moving to improve and streamline our operations, the board is working on creating operating procedures. The goal of the procedures is to establish procedural rules governing the board, to appraise board members of standards of conduct and conflict of interest provisions, and to adopt policies that clearly define responsibilities of the board. This is something I wanted to head up in charge for, is a board operating procedure that will go on into the life of the board, which is an important aspect of making sure we operate correctly. We set December for the first review of the board operating procedure, so I want to remind the board members who are tasked with their sections to please come forward in December.
Can we have Mr. Gutierrez resend us, or someone
Yeah.
resend what our responsibilities are?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, we're going to have an agenda format update. I want to update the format of the agenda, the layout itself. When we talk about update, it's just mostly the format. Some of the things we're looking at doing is adding the start times. We want to keep on time with the agenda, so I want to be a little bit more cognizant of our staff's time, et cetera, and people's times. One of the things we want to do is relate any items that we have that are actionable, that are board related, to a particular policy. So we have a relationship between them, so we can say, hey, this is related to a particular portion of the policy. One of the things we want to look at is having the current vision and mission statements across the agenda up top, particularly indicating what our mission and vision statement as a reminder of what we're standing for, and maybe update from the parents, and we can talk about that a little bit later, but I did want to give the board just kind of awareness of some of that update for the agenda. Another item for future agenda items, school start times. As a board, operational efficiency and day-to-day activities is important. Giving staff, coaches, educators, and parents the time they need to start the day and perform critical activities help tremendously in student success. I support bringing this item up for discussion, future discussion item. School start times as a future discussion item. Next discussion item. One of the things that I had an opportunity to do with the TASB conference, which I have to say I loved being at TASB conference, was a great opportunity, was the idea of a graduate profile. The important aspect of a graduate profile is allows us to focus our resources on the things that are important from the board standpoint that are to our students, as well as what the community is looking for in the graduation of our students. This is going to be important for us as we go forward in the future to be able to do these certain things. So as a board, ensuring our decisions are based on a common shared goal is very important. In order that we focus on these common goals, the concept of a graduate profile should be introduced into the district. The graduate profile will enable our district to focus energies and a learning environment that meet the needs of our community. I support adding this item as a future item for discussion. Next item for future discussion, Key Communicators Program. As a board, ensuring our community has the needed communication is key to our success. A few weeks back, I brought forward the idea of the Key Communicators Program. The goal of the program was to identify and establish in the communication with key organizations within the community. This would provide a liaison between the board and the community leaders to help facilitate information back and forth between them. The district identified key organizations and contacts, and I really appreciate that, Ms. Gutierrez, for getting that information, you and Cecilia and other leadership team getting that together. To put this information together and would share it with the board. It was a pilot program with board members would be assigned to a liaison of an organization. Recently, this pilot program was actually tested recently. We had our health alerts, which was recently sent out last week. Health alerts last week. What this program allowed us to do is communicate with the key stakeholders and key members of community, which included at this time the Frisco ISD as well as the Frisco leadership. I was in direct contact with the Frisco leadership, the city manager, relaying back and forth between us and the districts as the health alert went back. Ms. Gutierrez was in contact with the ISDs on their side, so it allowed us to communicate back and forth between us. The idea of this program is to continue that communication between entities in case of situations like this, to be able to get that information out accurately and efficiently to the community. So the pilot program was put in place. It was really recently tested, and that contact information was set in place. I ask my fellow board members for support on this program. It will help identify organization and key contacts, sending and communication between participants. I'm asking for a liaison between district and contacts, and as a holdover is hold a community meeting for liaison and contacts. Is the idea of how this would work. We would stay in coordination with those organizations, and that would allow us to help communicate. So I'd ask to put this on a future item for future discussion from the board members. And last but not least, as we come to the year end, there are several things we have to do that are based on our policy. Board year-end objectives and procedures are part of our policy. Board operating procedures, which we talked about. Board self-evaluation will be coming up as the year end, and district annual education performance report also will be coming up as we come to the year end. So as noticed, we have those things coming in place. Okay. Anything else? Did it take up all the time? Did I run through? With that said, if there are no more discussions, entertain a motion for adjournment.
Adjourn.
Would adjourn. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor? Adjourned.